Okay, so you can add other data. For example, so let's see, I want to change the title number 2. Okay, maybe, yeah, just make random, okay? Good, and then I want to change to title number 3, maybe 10 and 90, okay. Okay, for example, I change the number 4, maybe 25 and 24, okay. Okay. And you can see now is updated at this today. So everything is changed according to what we did. Yeah, so the REST framework will do automatically about this kind of things. If you check on the models, okay, so here is auto now is true. So it means the date will be always updated whenever we updating the data. Okay. So if you go to this detail, so you will see that this one has been updated in 13 May, so it means today. Okay, so I think the time, yeah, it follows the time zone in the UTC because I didn't set the, if you still remember, you need to set the setting. Okay, so this is the time zone in UTC. So if you change the time zone to Seoul, then the time will be the same with the Korea time. Okay. Now let's move to the next one. So for this example, I would like to use views.py, but I guess it will be good if we create a new file. So in one application, there might be two views.py. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. So I would like to create views CRUD.py, and it will be in the folder post. So I would like to make a new file here, post. Let me make a new Python file, CRUD. Oh, sorry. Views CRUD.py. So you will see there is a new file, views CRUD.py, and let's copy and paste this one. So I have two functions. The first function is index. I would like to access the index.html. So we will create later. And then I want to read. So it means I want to check all the data from post. Here is the query. And then I would like to put the post in the variable for forwarding to the HTML. Okay. So we already set with the views.py. Let's continue with the URLs. In the URLs, I want to make also a new file, URLs CRUD. So I want to separate with the previous example. So maybe you will have the same idea. For example, I do not want to make a new application. I don't want to start a new application. So I will just adding more files in this application. That's also fine. So I would like to make a new file. Here is URLs CRUD. Okay. And oops, not this one. Okay, I would like to copy this code and then paste in this. environment. So this is the link, okay, the link to the, we are going to access the views underbar CRUD, and then if there is no link name, then it will go to index. If we are going to read, then yeah, we will go to the read function. Okay, and then next we need to add one more path in the URLs parent folder. So this is important, okay, because if you don't put this one, then we will not be able to find what is the function for this link. Okay. So you can go to the urls.py here. So we have the first, it is admin. So we will update any admin page. For example, we want to update the data, or we want to add, for example, user and etc. Okay. And then the second is about the API. So this is the chapter that we learn about XML, JSON, and REST framework. And then this is the chapter about the CRUD. So this is what we will learn in this PowerPoint. Okay. So after we have this, so we want to go to this URLs CRUD whenever someone call this link. Okay, so URLs CRUD is this one. Now let's make the template. You still remember when we use the extends or we use include. Okay, so there will be the base. So the base will be the template for every HTML file, and then we have the index. So index, let's assume that the index is the first page, or this is the home page. And then P result, I would like to show the post result. So let's make these three HTML files. So the first is base.html, and let's make a new folder and put the folder name as CRUD. So I will just copy, okay, copy and go to this templates. Okay. First, make a new directory. We make the directory CRUD. Okay. And after we have this directory CRUD, let's make a new file, and the file will be HTML file. So let's have the name base. And then delete this one, paste the one that I already shared in the PowerPoint. Now you will see that this is a bit longer. Let's see, can I reformat? No. Okay, anyway, there is no indentation. Maybe it is a little bit difficult to understand, but yeah, that's fine. Okay. So we have the head. We want to get any template from the bootstrap. So here is the bootstrap.css, and this is the bootstrap.js. So we want to get the user interface from the bootstrap, so we don't need to design by ourselves. And we are getting the query. No, so this is the jQuery. So I will explain in the next section. Okay? And then in the body part, we start with navigation. So if you still remember, in the material we learned before the mid exam, we learned also about the base, and it starts with one navigation. So this is the format in the Bootstrap. So I would like to make one navigation bar. The first navigation bar is about everything like the title. Okay. So you will see later. Maybe I will explain this one later. Okay. And you will see there's a body here. So the body means, yeah, you need to put anything, for example, your homepage or your content. Okay. But the navigation will be always this one. And then, okay, we are going to use one JavaScript file. So we are making the static folder later. Okay, anyway, let's go. After we have the base.html, we can create the index.html. So creating the index.html here in the CRUD folder. So copy this one. So you need to make one new HTML, index.html, and then delete the contents and then change with the content from the PowerPoint. So let's take a look on the details later. After we have base, after we have the index.html, so let's go to the next one, which is p result. So in the p result, okay, p result.html, you will make a new HTML file, p result, and then change everything with the content that I gave in the PowerPoint. Okay. Am I too fast? So we will take a look on the details after I finish with these things. Okay. So we have three HTML files: base.html, index.html, and then p underbar result.html. As I mentioned to you, we need to access one JavaScript file. Okay, so the JavaScript file is for the Ajax itself. So I do not want to put into the HTML because it will be so complicated if I put in one HTML. So I will just put in the separate file. So in order to access the JavaScript, you need to put this statement in the settings.py. So the settings.py is a place to figure out what kind of files that you need to access instead of the Python file and HTML file. Because we are going to access this JavaScript, so we need to provide this one. You can also deal with the image, or you can deal with the video, you can deal with, for example, audio. Yeah, you can put everything in this static folder. So let me copy and paste. And then you can open the settings.py and paste this one. In the settings.py, they already have this static underbar URL. So you can just delete this one. And then the next one is static files tiers. It means I want to define where is the location that I can access the static file. So here I would like to define the folder name static. And yeah, the static root means if I have to access the static file, I have to access this static folder. Yeah, there will be another folder which is called as static files. So this is just a definition. So I can just go to the next. Okay. So we need to create a new folder static. And then we can create a subfolder JS in the folder static. So go to this folder, parent folder, and then you can make a new directory. And the directory name is static. And after you have the static, you need to make one more subfolder or the new directory that is JS. So this is the same that we learned about the JavaScript. So after you have the static and JS, now let's create a new file, script underbar CRUD, and copy and paste this one. So here, let's make a new JavaScript file. Okay, you will see JavaScript file, and then you can script CRUD, and then paste the code. See? Am I too fast? Okay, hopefully you can follow this one. Okay, everything already set. Then you can try. You can run this. Let me just use this one. Okay, now you will see a new CRUD system. Okay. So there is a navigation. So we call this is the navigation. Okay. You can have the sign up, you can have the login. Okay, so we will learn also about how to sign up and the login. Okay. And this is the Ajax section. So what is this one? Let's see one by one. So let's start from the views. I guess you understand this view. We have index, so we are going to access the index.html, and we have read, we are going to access the p result. Okay, and then here we have two links. The first link is blank. Okay, so what is the meaning by blank? The blank means if we go to the CRUD, so we do not need to put any other name, and it will access the index. And then the other link is when you put the name read. If you access the read, then you will run the read function. Okay. Now let's see in the base.html. So I already explained the base.html. it is the navigation bar. So like this one, it is the navigation brand, navbar brand. So you can put your brand, for example, in your team project. Yeah, for example, you have an image, or you want to make this as your homepage. So every time the user click in the section, then it will go to the homepage or the index. Yeah, you can do as well like that one. And then here we have posts, groups, and profiles, and all of them are in the list. So you can see here you have posts, groups, and profiles. Everything is in the list. And now posts is highlighted in the white color. So it means it is the active part. So if you do not put this active, okay, then the result will be the same with the others. So if you click this one, it is the same like this one, nothing changed. Okay. But if you put the active, then I know that now this is the active one. Yeah, just assume like this one. Okay. If you want to know how to change to group and then set that one is active, then there's another way for that one. And here we also put another list which is about sign up and login. So here we are using an icon. So the Bootstrap also provide icon. So you can just reuse that icon. Select this one. It is a sign up. There is an icon about the person. And then login. This is an icon to, for example, you want to log in to your system. And then we have navigation. So we have this text, Python, Django, simple, CRUD with with Ajax. Okay. So this is the title. Python, Django, simple, CRUD with Ajax. Now you will ask why it is not full in display. So I just set up this one. Yeah, there are many ways to deal with this one. This one is using the MD. MD means we can set the size. So this one is MD1. So for example, if I change to MD3, okay, so the size will be different, like this one. So it changed to the right. Okay. If it is like MD9, yeah, this also will be different. So it is based on the left. Okay. So there are many specifications, so I cannot explain one by one. So you can take a look what is the best one for you. Okay. So in my case, I will just use one. Maybe it is good for the design. If you want to make 10, yeah. Actually, it is until 12. Oh, sorry. So we have, this is 10. It's the same with the 9. Okay. I think the maximum is 9 because if you exceed 9, then there will be no space. Okay. So you can just use one for this one. And then, you can define also the size inside. Okay. So you can modify with that one. Now I don't care with the design, but if you want to make it more beautiful, then you can try to figure out what is the best class. And then this one is also about the color. Okay. So the CCC is one of the color you can change. I don't know if I change to CCD, for example. Oh, nothing changed. Maybe AAA. No, nothing changed. Okay, I don't know. So I'm not good at design. So you can design by yourself. Okay. And then body. So you know that in the body, Yeah, there should be any other file to connect to this body. And then this is the JavaScript that we use, which is the script underbar CRUD.js. So everything in this HTML will be connected to this JavaScript file. Now, if you go to the index, you will see extends. So we want to extend this file to the base.html. And the base.html is in the folder CRUD. Okay. And okay, this is the block body. So this is the inside of the content in the index.html. So let's see, what is it? Oh, we are making a form. And then in the form, you already learned about the CSRF token. So this is about the security. Okay. So this is the content source ports to go to the server and to the client side with security. So we need to provide this one in order to know whether the computer has the access to the server or not. And then we have this div. I want to put the title and then I want to put the content. Okay. And here is required. So it means we need to insert this one in order to, for example, create. Okay. So now I don't have the function create, edit. Now I don't have the function edit, and I don't have the function delete. So how can I do that one? So we will learn about that section in this chapter. Okay. So that's about the index.html. Now I will go to next about the p result. Now you will see that this result is on the table. Okay. It is connected to the index. We have this new div. This is the result. But where is the table? How can we connect this one to the table? If you see this one, this is the table. Okay. And then the table here contains of head. You will see this is based on the bootstrap. We have the table border and then alert success. So you can see here. Yeah. If you still remember in the bootstrap, when we have the success, the color will be green. And then everything is in the border. And then we have title, content, like, dislike, and action. So the action is this one, edit and delete. Now, in the body of the table, we want to loop. So every data in the post, we want to show it. So the first is the p.title, the second is p.content, and the next is p.like and p.dislike. For the last column, we want to add the edit. The edit is using the button warning, and the delete use the button danger. So warning is in the color of yellow and danger is in the color of red. So we are accessing the PID. We are accessing the PID. It means every time we edit, it will access the ID. Okay, this is all about the HTML. But still, the question is, how can we access the table? Why it is separated with the index.html? Okay, now we need to take a look on one additional file. So the additional file is the JavaScript. So the JavaScript file, now it contains everything related to the table. So the first is we want to go to the document, and then if the document is ready, we will access the result. So I will teach you on this section also about the jQuery. So here, if you still remember, we use this one to access the ID in the document. What is result? What is result? Okay, result is in here. Okay, so let me call back to the view rest.html. So in the view rest.html, we have the JavaScript. What is example here? Okay, we have the table ID. So everything that you define in this ID, if it is correlated with the JavaScript, then the result of this JavaScript or the result of this Ajax will go to this ID. The same with this one. I do not know what is this, but I already prepare one ID result, and this ID result is explained here. So if the result is not null, it means if the result is already prepared, if I know there is an ID result, then read. What is this read? Oh, we can see there is one function. Here is the function of read. What is read here? So it's better to put this one. Okay. So here the read function is based on the Ajax. So we need to declare the dollar sign. So it is related with the jQuery actually. So the dollar sign is the starting of the jQuery, and then we can call the Ajax. So you can see here the function Ajax contain two parameters. The first parameter is the URL, and then the other parameter is options. Okay. So here I put the URL. So this is the URL. Inside of the URL, there will be many information. Inside of the URL, okay, so you can see here in the Ajax. So inside of the URL, we use this one, the curly bracket. You still remember? This is the dictionary. We have the key, comma, value. So for the parameter URL, we have a dictionary of this one. And the first is to define the URL. Where is the URL? We are going to access the read. What is read? What is the URL read? We will go to this read. It means we will access this read function. So this read function is here. So we are going to check all the data in the post and then put in the p-result.html. So everything in the data will be shown in the table. So that's the meaning by this URL. So we want to access the link read. And then the type is post. So you can still remember there are two kind of method for accessing the server. We can use post or we can use get. Okay, so we can use post or get. What is the difference? If you use the get method, you will see everything in your URL. If you use post method, so the information will be hidden. Okay. Asynchronous. So asynchronous false. So here I do not want to use the synchronous, because if you use synchronous, it will just like the real time. Okay, so because we are not familiar with the real time and it may consume your resources, just use the asynchronous, and the basic is false. Okay. And then what is the data? Okay, now we have this data. In this data, yeah, the data is already set. We are making the input with the CSRF middleware token. So this is the way to make a secure connection between the read. So this is read is from the read function is from this view. Okay, this is the read function, and we want to put it into the HTML. Okay. So if you are using the JavaScript, you will use this CSRF middleware token. If you are using the form, you will use CSRF token. Okay. So that's what I mentioned about the Ajax engine. So this is the Ajax engine. So this is the Ajax engine. In the Ajax engine, there will be some mechanism, or maybe it is not the scope of our course. Just let's reuse this Ajax engine. And everything, when we want to access the data, yeah, we will do with the CSRF middleware token. So there will be a token to communicate between the HTML and the server. So if you still remember, oops, not this one. Yeah, this Ajax engine is in the middle. So there should be a token or a security between the browser to the server. So we use this CSRF middleware token in between the browser and the server. So we use this way. So whenever we get the value from the server, and if we want to put it into the HTML, then you don't need to worry about the security. Okay. So if you are using the common framework for the web, so there should be one way to make the security. But if you use the Django, it's secure. So you don't need to worry about, for example, password or personal information, because they have this mechanism with this CSRF middleware token. And after you success, what will you do? Okay, we need to give the response. So what is this response? Okay, I would like to show the result. Okay, so the result is the result in the index, this one, in the result. Okay, in this result, I would like to show the HTML. Okay, so that's what I explained to you about this one. So once we call the Ajax engine, so it will send something like the CSRF token, okay, to the server. Okay, I know that this website is going to access my server. So it will return back something, data, and then in the Ajax engine again, okay, the access is true. So it will return HTML. So that's the meaning by this HTML response. So there are many other response, okay, not only HTML. For example, you want to like making the file, okay. So I forgot, yeah. You can have many information. For example, if you want to append or you want to make not HTML, but you want to make a data structure like array, or you want to make a data like Boolean, or you want to make button and many things. Okay, so you can take a look on this one. There are many functions that can be generated, not only in the HTML, but also they have the behavior or the functions. So you can explore that one. For now, I think I will just use the HTML. Okay. Okay. Now, so after you know all the things in this Ajax, so after you take a look on this Ajax, so you know that this is the function read. So after we call the read, you will see the result. Okay. Okay. Then there are some parts here. If you see create, edit, update, delete. So I give some space here. So we will put more functions here. That's why if we have the Ajax, maybe this one is more convenient for a client, but you need more efforts to make the code because you need to make two codes. The first code is in the server. So it is about the how server handles the request. And the other is how the client access the server. So it is more complicated, but this is more convenient for the users. That's why usually we have like a trade-off. Okay. What is the trade-off? Yeah. The first is if it is server based, or we call it this, everything is in the back end. So it is good for company. But sometimes it is inconvenient for the user. Okay. But if it is client based, or you want to do everything in the front end, it is complex for the company, but it is convenience for the user. Okay, so what will you choose? Okay, so that's very difficult questions. That's why nowadays there are many companies, they want to find full stack developer. Do you know what does it mean by full stack? So the full stack developer means you understand about the back end and you understand about the front end, and you can do the integration between the front end and the back end. So for example, okay, maybe in one case you need to do with back end only, then you can do with back end. But in other case, you need to use the front end, then please do with the front end. In our course, we learn those two things. In before mid exam, we learn about many things with the back end. But after the mid exam, we learn many things about the front end. So I hope that after this course, you will be the full stack developer. Okay. Okay. I think there are not so much time for explaining the remaining section. I'll continue on the on Monday. Okay. Any questions?